Hi, everyone. This is Patrick, and here is your devotion for the day in which I come to you live from outer space. Well, not really live because I recorded this the day before. Perhaps you're watching it. And though I have these stars floating around me, it may not seem like I really am in outer space. I'm sitting in my home office here in Alexandria, Virginia. But even doing so, I am in space right now, just like you are. We are in space. We are part of this planet that is part of a galaxy that is part of many billions, trillions, and gazillions of galaxies that currently exist in space-time. So we are in outer space. We are a part of the whole. We are connected to that which is far, far away. In essence, it is near. We share a part of it. I share all of this because of a verse that came across my awareness this week. I was attending the committal service at a nearby cemetery for Pat Gray. Many of you probably did not know Pat. He was a member with his wife Wilma here at Westminster, and I knew him more in recent years where he was mourning her death. And he moved away a few years ago because of health issues, so we really lost touch with Pat. But his family was gracious enough to let us know that he had passed away, and so I was glad to be a part as an attendee of the memorial committal service this week. In that service, the officiant quoted from Paul's letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15. And this is Paul's rumination on resurrection and the resurrection body. And in that verse and in that scripture, Paul is making a distinction between the earthly body and the heavenly one, the one here on earth that is a body of death and decay and even dishonor, he says, and the heavenly body, which is imperishable and full of honor. And he distinguishes between the two bodies. And he says in that verse, and here we come to our space reference, that indeed star differs from star in glory. Just like earthly flesh and heavenly flesh are different in their glory, that there is an earthly glory and there is a heavenly one. And Paul really creates a hierarchy. He wants to say that the heavenly body is superior, and we can certainly assent to that, but I would also dissent from any notion that the earthly body is somehow disconnected from the larger glory. Indeed, I think Paul says as much when he says, there are both heavenly bodies and earthly bodies, but the glory of the heavenly is one thing, and the glory of the earthly is another. Indeed, as he says, star differs from star in glory, just like the sun and the moon differ in glory. This leads me to see not the distinction or the separation between the different kinds of bodies, but the connection they have in glory. That there is a difference, but there is a unity. We have an earthly body that is glorious, and it is connected to the earthly body, or the heavenly body, that has an imperishable glory. Much like I am sitting here on earth, I am part of this and connected to the glory of the cosmos by being here. And lest this devotion turn into a 45-minute philosophical rumination, I just want to make the connection that I see between how our glory in our own finite place and being is connected to a larger glory, and what that might mean. This week, our news sources have shared stories about what is happening in the Arctic or in Greenland, in the cold places way up there that probably none of us will ever visit or see in person, and how we're losing trillions of pounds of ice per year at a rate much higher than previous years because of the warming temperatures. think the glory of the ice in Greenland is a different glory than the one we share here, but we are connected in glory. And therefore, what is glorious there is a part of our glory here, and vice versa. We recently heard many quotes from Martin Luther King Jr., and lest we dust him off once a year but forget him for the other parts of the year, we remember that he says that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's another way of saying that a glory in one place is connected to the glory elsewhere. And anything that profanes that glory in one place is also a profanation of that glory elsewhere. So I lament the desecration of the glory of the ice in Greenland, because it represents to me a desecration of the glory in my finite being right here in Alexandria, Virginia. Maybe you can think of ways in which you are part of something much greater than the finite place and time in which you find yourself. Maybe there's a story in the news of a people or a person far away. Let that story touch you, because it is your story. You are part of it. Just like you are a citizen of Earth and yet a part of the cosmos. And indeed, let us approach this life with both our earthly body and our heavenly one in mind, and see the glory in both, and anticipate the glory to come. Remember today that glory, and consider yourself and faraway selves very much a part of it. Amen.